I give all I have till the war is won. I give all I have till the war is done. I will not lose. William. I am that I am, the will of I am. I am that I am, the will of I am, hip hop. It's Dr. J Life Frankincense. It's Dr. J Life Frankincense speaking. Dr. J Life hip hop Frankincense speaking. Today is July the 30th, 2024. July the 30th, 2024. 50 years ago and 22 days ago, I was born. 50 years ago and 22 days ago. On July the 8th, 1974, I was born. And my grandmother, Evelyn Webb, was 50 years old when my mother brought me into the world. On my mama's mama, Evelyn Webb, the quadruple OOOO'G godson mother. The quadruple OOOO'G godson mother. Evelyn Webb. Godfather, godmother. We from Exodus 7A. We on the 40th parallel. Trenton, New Jersey. The land of the free. The home of the bravest hearts. 7A on the New Jersey Turnpike. 7, Alpha and Omega. 7, I am in the beginning and in the ending. Ain't no New York. We the New Jerusalem. The holy place and the most holy place. North of the holy place is the most holy place. Ain't no separate state. Ain't no New York. 7A. Can't get to New York. We the ultimate gatekeepers. Trenton, New Jersey. George Washington wanted it. Alexander Hamilton wanted it. Benjamin Franklin wanted it. The Black Moors wanted it. Fake Indians wanted it. Trenton, New Jersey. Is the husband of Philadelphia. The bride is Philadelphia, says Revelation chapter 3. To my angel, to the angel of Philadelphia write, I know you know me. That's a husband's term. It says Adam knew Eve and the two became one. Trenton, New Jersey is the husband of the bride. Philadelphia. Ain't no Will Smith. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Baal is the god Molech. Baal, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Motown, Philly, Molech is Baal. Will Smith. Dr. Umar who? Dr. Umar Jimmy Hat. The J, the I, the M. Listen, man. Just like Magic Johnson or anybody with the last name Johnson, yo, you ain't changed your name, homie. And if you know anything about Trenton, from Trenton to Princeton, ain't no Johnson and Johnson. Ain't no Magic Johnson, ain't no Umar Johnson, ain't no Johnson and Johnson. We the only city like heaven. Heaven is an urban environment. Ain't no governor in New Jersey. Everywhere, all your states, y'all got a governor's mansion and a governor that's pillaging and plundering y'all. The governor got to come down into the capital city hood in Trenton, New Jersey. The governor, listen, because we have never ever been subjugated. Never. It's like y'all talk about Ethiopia ain't never been subjugated. Are y'all serious? Are y'all serious? The reason that y'all believe that Ethiopia is down in South Africa is because they never ever have defeated our queens. Our Ethiopian queens have never ever, and y'all queens have lowered the bar. Y'all queens have lowered the bar. And our queens have raised the bar. And you're walking in the same land of the free, telling a narrative that don't exist because you have changed the desires of your hearts. Our queens raised the bar. And all y'all was supposed to do was touch and agree and testify. And when they made y'all little fake slave states, the story of the Civil War, the story of the American Revolution, the story of the 70 Years' War, it's all there documented. But they have a narrative called the lost cause narrative where they revise and they retell the story like they won it when they actually lost. All of the European nations, the Germans, the Britons, listen, all of them tried to come from Europe and create New England. And that's what the Civil War was. Old England is what? London. So how do you have a New England Patriots when Henry Tudor and Queen Elizabeth I and King James, which is the most ragtag, mamby-pamby, they had no land. England is on a little patch of islands. England ain't even attached to, England is not even attached to the continent that y'all call Europe. England is in the water. It says the beast rose out of the sea, Revelation 13. And the beast rose up out of the sea. Westminster Abbey of Thelema. What's an abbey? What's an abbot? Silly rabbit. What's an abbot? Huh? Is a teacher. What's an abbot? Westminster Abbey? The King of Kings and Lord of Lords told you, call no man on earth father, because you got one father which is in heaven. and the black Judas who really worshiped Caesar. So all of your churches collecting tithe, they are black Judases. Judas collected 30 pieces of silver because he was working, his allegiance was to the Romans. He was a mole, he was a plant. All of y'all churches collecting tithe in the hood, leeches and parasites, you are the black Judases. And then the Son of God, the Messiah, say, you call me king, and rightly so. But I have served you. He was washing their feet. This was before the so-called, it wasn't the Last Supper. It was the death of the Hebrews supper. It was the death of his relationship with Abraham's children. He said, not one stone will be left unturned. I'm going to demolish this whole, listen. Y'all run around here and talk about Abraham's children was the chosen. Abraham's children was in the same exact spot that Satan was, the outcast. And the only difference between Satan and Abraham's children is 0 of Satan's outcasts, 1/3 from heaven, accepted the call to repentance when they was cast down here to this earth. 0 of them accepted repentance. The difference is when the plan of redemption was extended to Abraham's children, identical to Satan and the angels that was cast out of heaven, 0 of the 1/3 of the angels accepted a redemption plan. He said, I am the vine, you are the branches, you must be grafted into. That means you die, you have to be grafted. Engrafting is called husbandry. It's where the unfruitful branch gets thrown into the fire, and one twig off of the old unfruitful tree of death, one little branch, one little stalk is cut where it exposes the inner death blood flowing in that branch. And then they pierced him in the side, because husbandry is, I am the vine, I take and I cut and I take your dead blood and I insert your dead blood into my life-giving blood. Husbandry. But the rest of the tree, the root, the stalk, the fruit, everything is going into the flames. But I'm going to take one little twig. Abraham's seed, the chosen. Abraham's seed had a timeline, a probationary period. Every prisoner on death row, you got a probationary. Every prisoner that gets convicted of the wages of sin is death and is put on death row like Satan and the Hebrews. You can either get exterminated like you deserve, or you can get a pardon and a parole. There's 2 things you can get when you get on death row. 2 things. You can get the wages that you deserve. The wages of sin is death. Or you can get or you can get paroled. And if you get that parole, Abraham's seed, and while you're out on probation, if you turn back to the wages of your sin, you're going to get every bit of that death that you deserve. And it ain't got nothing to do with none of the other branches that ain't a wicked outcast dead branch like Abraham's seed was. Abraham was in Ur of the Chaldean. Abraham was a Babylonian, was a sodomite Babylonian. There's no reason why Abraham should have been in Ur of the Chaldeans, a slave, a leprous slave on the outskirts, just like Satan. Why? The only branch of Noah from the ark that went back to the same garbage that Cain led the people into, where God judged and killed all of them, was the branch of Shem. There's no such thing as anti-Semites. We are anti the Shemites. They're playing on words. It's called rhetoric. Semitic is the root word of semantics, rhetoric, where you get facts from. There's no such thing as facts. It's either all truth or it's all lies. There's no such thing as facts. That's rhetoric, semantics. It says Satan is the father of lies. So Satan's children have a double forked tongue, and they come up with theories. Every imagination has set itself up against the knowledge of God. It says the thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Father of lies. So his children got the same lying lip, forked tongue. Theories of evolution. Darwin's theory of evolution. Theory this. There's no such thing as a theory. It's life or death. There's no such thing as an evolution. It's let there be light. Procreation. Or your theoretical abomination. Lying lips is an abomination to the Lord. All of you fools. Yeah, you heard me. That's throughout the word of God. David. Song after song after song. When he trounced on his enemy, Goliath. Put pen down, song after song. You ignorant fool, you ignorant fool, you ignorant fool. Thought you could speak against. Thought you could speak against. The only difference between Abraham's seed and Satan's seed is David. And the only reason that there was a David is because the Ethiopian queen, Zipporah, brought a womb that God could use. There is no Hebrew wombs. None. There is no Hebrew wombs. That's why they don't even speak about the women. Sarah was barren. There are no Hebrew wombs. The fertility of heaven came when the women who were not Hebrews came in amongst them. Ruth gives birth to David. Ruth ain't a Hebrew. Rebecca gives birth to Joseph and Benjamin. Rebecca ain't no Hebrew. There are no Hebrew wombs. And there's no such thing as Jewish. There is no such thing as Jewish. God found the tongue at the Tower of Babel. That's a Babylonian, Pig Latin, Yiddish word. There are a group of people. This is where British comes from. Pig Latin, Yiddish. Yiddish, Pig Latin, this is where you get York from. The Yiddish came up with the word in 1611. Elijah, Daniel, David, no, they don't even know what that term is. Queen Elizabeth, King James created the word Jewish when they wrote their version of what happened 1611 years after it all happened. So where is the truth in that garbage? The Yiddish of Europe. What connection do the Yiddish of Europe have with God? What authority? What authority does the Yiddish, British, in England? What authority do they have? Oh, a rabbi. A rabbi that stood at the cross and said, let his blood be on us and our children. Give us Jesus Barabbas. Christianity? Let me tell you what the rabbi said. This is why he said, I am going to destroy Abraham and Abraham's children. And he said, Judas is here faking like he with us. And he got the silver coins in his pocket. Judas is the snake. I'm busy, baby. I'm working. I'm working. Damn. I'm recording, baby. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm working. I'm working. So, if y'all gonna read the story right. That's why it calls it programming. Y'all not even reading the story. Y'all been told and told and told what to believe. And the words on the page say something totally different. But you've been told and programmed what to believe. When you read the story of what happened, the Son of God is an enemy of the same religious systems that you worship in. The Son of God was at war every day. They tried to kill him at his birth. You was programmed. You've been programmed to align yourself with the enemies of God that killed God. And so the same curse that they brought down on their life, you have brought down on your life. Let his blood be on us and our children. Do you know that Herod and the Romans killed all of the baby boys in Jerusalem trying to kill the Son of God? And you're in churches talking about Christianity. Listen, the Son of God was at war. Heaven was at war with the religious systems that you have baptized yourself in. Heaven was at war with them. The angel came from heaven and told Mary to take the baby away because the heaven was against the enemies that you worship with. Christianity, what? Heaven was against the so-called religious leaders on earth, Abraham's children. Why? Because they had gone back into the Babylonian idolatry. And when you go back into Sodom, like Lot's wife, God kills you. Israel had gone back into Sodom. So how could God kill Lot's wife when she turned back, when God said, I'm leading you out of this garbage and trash? And if you even look back, that's the desires of your heart. He said, I stand at the door and knock. He who opens the door, I will open the door and I will come in and I will sup with them and he with me. And when he's standing at the door and you going, your desires of your heart is back in Sodom. Women, you have lowered the bar. all throughout the pages of the earth. Nowhere in Israel could they find a womb. And God kept sending womb after womb from Ethiopia, Cush, Ham, the daughters of Eve, the third woman in Abraham's life, the second and third woman in Abraham's life. Hagar was not a Hebrew. Daughter of Eve, Ethiopia. Ethiopia has never been in South Africa where they tell you it's from. Because they got a bunch of Arabs in the place where it's called the Garden of Eden. Ain't no Saudi Arabia. That's the Garden of Eden. So for the British, Yiddish, to put their fake kingdom in the Garden of Eden, they had to take the true queens of the Garden of Eden and lie to you and tell you, because once again, you ignorant, you spiritually ignorant. So they can recreate a map and redesign a map in 1611 and then send Haile Selassie, the Black Judas puppet of Queen Elizabeth. And y'all black fools run around here talking about Haile Selassie is the offspring of David. Haile Selassie was the slave of England and the U.S. Haile Selassie was the one who slaughtered our people in the southern tip of what y'all call Africa. Why did Haile Selassie, along with Mussolini, the Italian general, go down there and slaughter our people under the cover of World War I while the whole world was looking at Europe? Why did they send Italy and there's Black Judas? Because Italy is Rome. Italy is the same Pontius Pilate that killed the Son of God, Caesar. And Haile Selassie represents Herod, Abraham's seed. The snake that slaughtered Herod was a pervert who slept with his sister, killed John the Baptist, and killed all of the young boys trying to kill the Messiah. That's who Haile Selassie is. One of Ishmael's sons. One of Ishmael's sons. Abraham, listen, the Son of God said, all of Abraham's children is dead to me. The Last Supper, when he said Judas, and Judas died that day, and all of Abraham's seed will die the death of Judas. The Last Supper was about Abraham's seed is now dead to me. Those that got grafted into me are into me. David, Hezekiah, Elijah, Elisha, Jeremiah, Deborah, Jehoshaphat. There are countless specific individuals, Joshua, countless specific individuals that got grafted into the vine. The rest of Abraham's seed is dead. That's why they tried to change the name, because the word that came out of his mouth cursed the seed of Abraham, and everybody knows the seed of Abraham are Hebrews. So Revelation 13 says that the last movement called Laodicea, which God would spit out of his mouth, would try and resurrect the image to the beast. So they had to create a new name for the beast system since the Son of God killed it dead. And all of your religious systems of the world, every last one of them is Babylon. No matter what you call it. Because every last one of your systems today have turned back into the same exact harlotry that Lot's wife turned back to. And if Lot's wife was killed, God has to kill every single person that turns back into all of you women. All of you women. Why am I saying the women? Because Adam was the one who violated in the garden, not Eve. And that's why God used Mary without Joseph to produce the Son of God, because Adam violated, not Eve. The Son of God had to come and die because Adam defiled on earth the image of God. Not Eve. Eve covered Adam when Adam was supposed to get the wages of sin. Eve covered him. Your premarital sex is adultery. Premarital sex robs God. See, animals are the only thing. Animals don't make a covenant with God. The difference between us created in God's image and animals who are created just a little bit lower is that animals don't enter into a marriage covenant. As soon as the animals were created, they began procreating because the queen was in heat. But because God created us in his image, God's bride receives the tribute of the first fruit blessing. So God told Adam and Eve both. He spent the whole day with Adam. He spent the whole day, and that's 1,000 years, preparing for a wedding ceremony, because you cannot unify with your bride before I give both of the created beings as tribute to my bride. The wedding ceremony is a tribute to the bride in heaven. And premarital sex robs God. Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. Like a beast of burden, you tried to go and just enter and engage in sex. All sex is a violation and robs God. Premarital, extramarital, masturbation, all sex. And God was preparing the garden, the earth, the world for the greatest wedding ceremony ever. And Adam, like a beast, like a wild dog, after being told by his father the importance of the ceremony and the vow and the importance of the covenant and how he represented the priesthood and everything on earth, God took him through that. And he runs up on Eve with the spirit of Satan in him. The very first rape happened in the garden. The very first rape happened in the garden. And it says Eve's eyes was open, that Adam had been commandeered by the snake. And it says that she ran, unlike Lot's wife, unlike the whores of Israel, who over and over and over prostituted themselves with Nimrod, prostituted themselves with Nebuchadnezzar, prostituted themselves with the pharaohs. Unlike the whores of Israel, Eve's eyes was open that the snake was trying to usurp the body that God had created Adam in his image, and he was trying to commandeer through demon possession and take over Adam and become the husband of earth. And it says Eve ran from that union with the snake through demon possession of Adam and ran back to the father and went to the father. And when she said, the snake deceived me,